Du Plessis versus Strickland is an awesome fight. I mean, that one will really make you stop and think. Du Plessis did show one thing in the Whittaker fight above everything else. He showed us he's better than we thought he was. It's very difficult to imagine Sean Strickland at this point can't go toe-to-toe with anyone in the world, considering that's what he did and that's how he defeated Adesanya. It's very tough at this point. Du Plessis has some very sneaky striking capabilities himself. And Du Plessis has demonstrated the other element, which is an ability to grapple.
Let me tell you a story. So when I first met Sean Strickland, I went up to Millennium MMA, Inland Empire. I went up to train with Lorenz Larkin, a great striker, great fighter, good friend of mine, came to my wedding. Went up to spar with him. Sean was in the room, never met him before in my life. Instantly thought, who is this cocky because he is, he's cocky. And so am I. So you know what I mean? Sometimes
bit of a
too
clash.
Cocky. They clash a little bit, but we're having a spar and it's all well and good, you know. And it was a decent spar. And at the end of it, when we finished sparring, he goes, and I'd never seen the guy, I'd never heard of him, and as we know, he's now the middleweight champion of the world. At the end, he's come a little closer, he goes, hey, I'm even better on the ground.
But I can't forget how good Sean Strickland looked against Izzy. I can't forget it. And I look at Dricus, he leaves himself open quite a bit. He's a little bit more of a loopy puncher. But that being said, what the number one thing that people talk about when it comes to Dricus Du Plessis is his size. His physical size and his strength, it seems to be a lot for these 185 pounders. He is a big person for that weight class. And so I want to know how Sean plans to handle that, because when I talked to Johnny Eblin about Strickland, he's like, look, he doesn't settle on the bottom. He's very unorthodox to take down because you're getting hit and you're getting touched with these little tiny things. The jab, this, that. And Dricus is going to have a hard time, especially in those first couple rounds, figuring him out. Is the jab just touching me? When's the right hand coming? Am I trying to take him down? Am I not? He looks so relaxed out there. How does somebody like Dricus handle all that?
I've seen this 1,000 times. Like, Sean's that you can get better at fighting him, but when you initially run into him, you are just confused. Because I always laugh. Everything he does is like on paper wrong. Like, you're just like, it's not the way you're supposed to move. But like, he moves weird, he throws weird, he goes from like, he kung fu blocks, he shuts like, he's really good at shutting down the things you're supposed to be good at. It's hard to find your jab against Sean because he creates so much random traffic with his jab. Or when you start jabbing, he's parrying weird, he's kung fu blocking. In most combat sports, especially like kickboxing, boxing, everything's predated off of what? Your jab, right? Everything sets up with your jab. So when he just takes that away from you, like, no, it's not there. You can't out-jab Sean. Like, he's going to win that battle. He's either going to counter you or just make your jab pointless. People aren't great at continuing combos once they've been interrupted. And Sean interrupts everything. So I've seen people have this same, like, what the hell's going on every time they spar Sean at first. I've seen it happen for years.
Strickland's just one of those guys. He doesn't let those things get to him. So the only way to beat Strickland is do what Alex did, you know? Impose will make him walk backwards and finish him that way. He doesn't do that well walking backwards, and that's what Alex Pereira did.
This is where I see, I'm going to take a little page of the Alex and the Alex Pereira fight versus Sean Strickland. I think if Dricus gets it done, he gets it done in the first round or the 2 rounds. Because as Dricus, as we've seen sometimes in the past, he does tend to slow down quite a bit in that third round, third round. First and second rounds, I'm going to give him that he has an opportunity to use the body size, use his power, all of those things to get Sean out of there. So Sean's got to be very cautious and careful on how he approaches those first 2 rounds.
Many guys will get to exhaustion and be able to push and operate in that zone. Those guys are champions. Not some of the time, every time. Every time, every sport. If you find that guy who can reach the point of exhaustion, which will make a coward out of any man, he can reach that point and he can maintain. You now have a champion. And we simply haven't seen Du Plessis in that spot. we have seen Sean Strickland tested in 5-round fights for years.
Dricus, good judo, very, very strong, hits hard. Sean Strickland growing in confidence all the time. He stops Abel Smagomedov in the second round, then he drops Israel Adesanya in the first round. So on the feet, this will be a very, very juicy display of mixed martial arts and talent and action and all the rest of it, and I can't wait for it.
I was excited to see this fight announced. You know, Israel said he wanted to sit out. Now we get to see this fight. I think it's one of those 50-50 contests. Du Plessis coming off a win over Rob, which is the #1 contender, the best guy head and shoulders in the division. To get a win over him definitely has to earn you a title shot. So yeah, this is the matchup I wanted to see.
You know, Dricus getting the title shot with Sean, I think it's fair because he wasn't in a lot of the talks for the next title shot with Sean, and that where did it leave him? Where did that lead him? And you know, I think, you know, props to him, he did beat me.
You know, there's a new sheriff in town. There's a new #1 contender, and you know, I wouldn't have had it any other way. I could have beaten number 5, 4, 3, and 2, and not Whittaker, and get a title shot. That would have been totally justified, but that's not the way I wanted it.
Off the cuff, I want to say Dricus, just because like he did beat me, and then that gives me a path also just to get it back off him, sort of thing. And but also I think like both guys love making it a dogfight, right? And I don't know. I think what can I say? How can I doubt Dricus when he beat me last time?
My early predictions, I think Sean is gonna try to play the long game, which I think would be smart. I'm not saying go out there and stall the fight. I say don't be too over aggressive where Du Plessis has an opportunity to land one of those haymaker shots that he throws. Because let's be honest, he's not the most technical looking when he's throwing these punches. He kind of throws them in these weird, awkward angles, and I think that's the element of surprise when he throws them for these weird angles. You're not used to seeing it. And I think with that, Sean Strickland has to be careful of that, earn a side of caution a little bit, but still keep that walk him down pressure, do the man dance, stay in his face. And I think Sean should get his first title defense in January.
Yeah, cool. So you have two guys who don't like each other, which is always a plus point when you're fighting. And now you have a guy like Sean Strickland. He's a decent guy. You know, I've met him once or twice. He's always been a gentleman to me. He's been a nice guy. But this is never personal. It's business. When I get in there, you could be the nicest guy in the world or the biggest asshole. I'm going out there to do whatever I have to beat you. And 100%, I train like a champion. I eat like a champion. I sleep like a champion.
Nobody expected him to beat Robert Whittaker. Nobody expected him to stop him in the second round. And as we know, if you beat the man, you become the man. And that's exactly what Sean Strickland did. He beat longtime champion Israel Adesanya. So Dricus Du Plessis gets to go up there and face Sean Strickland in Sean's first ever title defense, UFC 297. I think that's going down in Toronto, Canada. My word, that's going to be sensational.
Let's say for whatever reason, Du Plessis ends up beating a Sean Strickland. You know what that does? You know when Israel said he wanted to fight till 2027? That brings him back in. And I tell you what, guys, stylistically, what Du Plessis was able to do to a guy like Whittaker, yeah, he's not the fanciest. Yeah, he's not the he's not the smoothest fighter, but when you're able to do that to a guy like Robert Whittaker, in my opinion, with Robert Whittaker, if he stacks on the weight right, I can see him becoming a double champion. That's the level that I literally have him. But what he was able to do to a guy like Robert Whittaker, that just lets you know, man, he's a gamer. He is a gamer and a half. I personally think that there's a storyline now here. Let's say for whatever reason, let's say Du Plessis, because I do have Du Plessis as a favor in that fight. Du Plessis beats a guy like Sean Strickland, puts the brakes on a guy like Sean Strickland. You know what that does, ladies and gentlemen? Hey, Dana, I think I'm ready to fight again. Yep. Oh, Israel Adesanya, okay, we will schedule it maybe UFC 300.